Oh, then he's even a more sexless fish than I took him for. But really, a man capable of flouncing out of the house when I was on the point of pardoning him and giving him a night of legitimate bliss is capable of any imbecility.
Pardoning me? Pardoning me for what? What had I done when you flew out at me?
I did not fly out at you. I've never lost my dignity, even under the most insufferable wrong.
You hadn't any wrongs. You drove me out of the house.
I did not. I never meant you to go. It was abominably selfish of you. You had your seedy stockings to go to. I had nobody. Adrian was out of town.
Adrian? Oh, this is a new complication. Who's Adrian?
Adrian is Mrs. Fitzfassenden's Sunday husband, Mr. Sagamore.
My what did you say?
Your Sunday husband. You understand. What Adrian Blenderbland is to you, as it were, what Ally is to me.
I don't quite follow. What is Mr. Blenderbland to you, Mrs. Fitzfassenden, if I may ask?
Well, he is a gentleman with whom I discuss subjects which are beyond my husband's mental grasp, which is extremely limited.
He's a chap who sets himself up to be an intellectual because his father was a publisher. He makes up to Eppie and pretends that he's in love with her because she has a good cook. I tell her that he cares for nothing but his food. He always calls at mealtime. A belly god, I call him, and I am expected to put up with this. And if I so much as look at Polly, oh my!
Cases are completely different. Adrian worships the ground I tread on, true, but if you think seedy stockings worships the ground you tread on, you flatter yourself grossly. She endures you and pets you because you buy her stockings and anything else she may be short of.
Well, I never contradict anyone, because it only makes trouble. And I'm afraid I do cost him a good deal, because he likes me to have nice things that I can't afford.
No, you don't. No, you don't, my dear. You're as good as gold. Why, I'm always pressing things on you that you won't take, and you're a jolly sight more careful with my money than I am myself.
Oh, touching. You are the Sunday wife, I suppose.
No, I should say that you are the Sunday wife, Mrs. Fitzfassenden. It's I that have to look after his clothes and make him get his hair cut.
Oh, surely the creature's intelligent enough to do that for himself.
You don't understand men. They get interested in other things and neglect themselves unless they have a woman to look after them. You see, Mr. Sagamore, it's like this. There are two sorts of people in the world. The people that anyone can live with and the people that no one can live with. Well, the people that no one can live with may be very good-looking and splendid and temperamental and romantic and all that, and they can make a man or a woman happy for half an hour if they're pleased with themselves and disposed to be agreeable. But if you try to live with them, they eat up your whole life running after them or quarrelling or attending to them one way or another. Can't call your soul your own. As Sunday husbands and wives to have a good tearing bit of love-making with, or a blazing row, or mostly one on top of the other once a month or so, they're all right. But as regular partners, they're just impossible.
Yes, so I am the Sunday wife, and what, pray, are you?
Oh, I'm the angel of the house, if you follow me.
You are, dear, you are.
You're his doormat, that's what you are.
A doormat's a very useful thing if you want the house kept tidy, dear.
Oh, excuse me. Yes. Did you say Blenderbland?
Adrian, how did he know I was here?
Will you ask the gentleman to wait, please? Perhaps you'll tell me something about him, Mrs. Fitz. Is he the chairman of Blenderbland's Literary Pennyworths?
Oh, no, that is his father who created the business. Adrian is on the board, but he has no business ability. He's on 15 boards of directors on the strength of his father's reputation and has never, as far as I know, contributed an idea to any of them.
Be fair to him, Eppie. I mean, no one in London knows how to order dinner better. I mean, this is what keeps him at the top in the city.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I think I have his measure sufficiently. Shall I have him in?
Certainly. I want to know what he's doing here.
Yes, well, I don't mind. You do understand, of course, that I'm not supposed to know anything of his relations with my wife, whatever they may be.
They are completely innocent, so far. I am not quite convinced that I love Adrian. He makes himself agreeable to me, that is all.
Will you send Mr. Blenderbland in, please?
You will now see the blighter who's cut me out with Eppie.
Oh, I can't imagine any man cutting you out with any woman, dear.
Would you be good enough to restrain your endearments when he comes in?
Hello, where have we all come from? Good morning, Mrs. Fitzfassenden. How do, Alistair? Mr. Sagamore, I presume. I did not know you were engaged.
Your arrival is quite opportune, sir. Will you have the goodness to sit down?
Thank you. I hope I'm not interrupting this lady.
Oh, no, not at all. Don't mind me.
Miss Smith, an intimate friend of Mr. Fitzfassenden.
Pleased to meet you, I'm sure.
The fact is, Mrs. Fitzfassenden mentioned your name to me in conversation as her choice of a new solicitor, so I thought I could not place myself in better hands.
But excuse me, had you not a solicitor of your own?
Oh, my dear Mr. Sagamore, never be content with a single opinion. When I feel ill, I always consult at least half a dozen doctors. The variety of their advice and prescriptions convinces me that I had better cure myself. When a legal point arises, I always consult 6 solicitors with much the same result.
You know I have no sense of humour. You know it annoys me when you talk the sort of nonsense that's supposed to be funny. Did you come here to consult Mr. Sagamore about me?
I did, but of course I expected to find him alone.
Oh, and here we are, the whole caboodle.
I was speaking to Mr. Blenderbland. I was not speaking to you. And I'm not a member of your caboodle, as you call it.
Sorry, dear. Just a reminder I was still listening.
Has the matter on which you wish to consult me any reference to Mr. Fitzfassenden's family circle?
It has.
Yes. And is it of such a nature that sooner or later it'll have to be discussed amongst all the adult members of that circle?
Well, yes, I suppose so, but hadn't we better talk about it a little in private first?
You shall do no such thing. I will not have my affairs discussed in private or in public. They concern myself alone.
May I not discuss my own affairs?
With my solicitor, I will not have it.
Now she's off in the deep end again. We may as well go home.
Oh, the deep end, the deep end. What is life if it is not to be lived at the deep end? Oh, Alistair, you are a tadpole.
Oh, don't do that.
Smooth it for him, angel of the house.
Shouldn't make a sight of him like that.
Mr. Fitzfassenden, why did you marry Mrs. Fitzfassenden?
Why? Well, does that require any explanation? I've already told you why I married him.
Although you may not think it, she can be frightfully fascinating when she really wants to be.
Why might he not think that? What do you mean?
Oh, he knows what I mean.
Oh, it's some silly joke, I suppose.
Don't be absurd, Fitzfassenden. Your wife is the most adorable woman on earth.
Not here, Adrian. If you're going to talk like that, let's go somewhere where we can be alone.
Oh, for heaven's sake, do before you drive us all crazy.
Now, steady, steady. I hardly know where I am. Now, you're all consulting me, but none of you's given me any instructions. Hadn't you better all be divorced?
What is the creature to live on? He has nothing. He would have had to become a professional boxer or tennis player if his uncle had not pushed him into an insurance business where he was perfectly useless.
Effie, I don't think Mr. Sagamore wants to hear
He
about all
does.
this.
He
but-
shall be silent. Mr. Sagamore, when Alistair proposed to me, was too great an idiot to comprehend his own audacity. I kept my father's promise. I gave him a cheque for £150. Turn this into 50,000 within 6 months, I said, and I am yours.
You never told me this.
Why should I? It's a revolting story.
Well, what's revolting about it? Did I make good or did I not? Did I risk hell to get the money and win your hand, or did I not?
Do I understand you to say, Alistair, that you made £50,000 in 6 months?
Why not?
You may well look incredulous, Adrian, but he did. This imbecile made £50,000 and won Epifania Ognissanti di Perega for his bride. I kept my word and married him instantly. Then, too late, I discovered how he had made it.
Well, how did I make it? By my own brains.
Brains by your own folly, your own ignorance, and your criminal instincts, and the luck that attends the half-witted. What you deserved was 5 years penal servitude.
5 years? 15 more like that's what I risked for you. And what did I get by it? Living with you was far worse than any penal servitude.
It would have been heaven for you if nature had equipped you for such a companionship as mine. But what was it for me? No man had ever been good enough for me. I was like a princess in a fairy tale, offering my hand and fortune to any man who could turn my £150 into 50,000 within 6 months. Able men, brilliant men, the youngest sons of the noblest families either refused or failed the test. Why? Because they were too honest or too proud. This thing succeeded, and I found myself tied for life to an insect.
You may say what you like, but you were just as much in love with me as I was with you.
Well, you were young. You were shaped well. Your lawn tennis was outstanding. You were a magnificent boxer. I was attracted by physical contact with you.
Oh, is it necessary to be so very explicit, Mrs. Fitzfassenden?
Julius Sagamore, you may be made of sawdust. I am made of flesh and blood. Alistair is physically attractive.